Welcome, everybody. My name is Ian Blackburn, and it is Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, time for another edition of Zoom into Wine. Every Wednesday, we get some great people together to talk about some great wines from around the world, different grape variety, different place. Tonight, we're focused on a place. We're in the southern part of France in the Rhone Valley for a night of Rhone wines. We're going to cover a lot of ground. So I've got a nice PowerPoint to help us guide us through the conversation. Let me get right in. Treasures of the Rhone Valley. Our first wine to get us rolling. Get the weight of the day off our shoulders. Tavel. I remember the pandemic just took hold, and we shifted from wine education into my family's wine store and started delivering boxes of Rosé to people all over LA. It was the beverage of choice. Things have changed around a little bit. I think a Rosé is still very important, especially in warm weather, but it is a year-round beverage. Tavel is an old school classic and really carries a lot of weight, a lot of character. It's basically like a light red wine, as much, it depends on your state of mind, what you want to think it is. But let's learn a little bit about Tavel. We recorded a session a while ago with my friend from Kermit Lynch, so we're going to watch that video and taste this wine with him. But we are down in the southern part of the Rhone Valley. There's lots of little villages down here that don't always get the most credit for the beauty of their wine, the beauty of their place. But Tavel is a really special. I did get to visit Tavel long ago, and always supported Tavel as one of the old OG rosé parts of the world. And this is an important category to learn quite a bit about. So let's get into it with my friend Andrew Major. Now we're going to go to my friend Andrew Major, who's actually on vacation on the East Coast, taking time away from Nantucket. Andrew, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. I wouldn't miss this. So happy to be here.
Well, dude, I really appreciate you helping us out and teaching us a little bit about this beautiful Tavel Rosé.
Yes.
And Andrew, you work for Kermit Lynch.
Yes, worked for Kermit Lynch for 2 years here in Los Angeles, or there in Los Angeles.
How do we pronounce the name of our Tavel producer today?
It's Trinquevedel. So Trinquevedel.
And we're tasting the 2021, which as a vintage in France has kind of a checkered look, because it was a pretty severe winter or a wet year, pretty rainy, a lot of hail, a lot of frost, a lot of issues. Now the wines that come out of 2021 are probably smaller productions and probably higher selections. So we're not saying run from 21 at all, but just know that the vintage will probably be here just for a moment, and then it'll be gone, because it was such a small year. And 2022 is kind of a big year.
It's a big year, but I will say with 2021, a lot of us are actually running towards it, because I was just there doing a 2-week trip with the staff, and the further south we got, the better the 21s got. And actually in the south, it even though it's known as a cooler vintage, things were ripened phenolically. It's really one of the best vintages in the south of France, and winemaker after winemaker were telling us, like, 21 is our favorite vintage in memory, or one of the favorite vintages that they've had in a long time. And we totally agree. The further south we got, the better the 21s got. And so I think, with this 21 and a lot of others, it really shows.
Let's get into Tavel, and we're focused on the Rhone Valley, so we're going to look at different parts of the Rhone map, and it is an iconic rosé dominated appellation.
they do make other wines than rosé.
They do, but it's the only AOC that that's made up entirely of rosé. So if you make a white or a red, you can't put Tavel on it. Only the rosés. They started and got their AOC status back in 1936, which is exactly when this chateau, started up in 36.
Very cool. And it maintains its, is it still in its fourth generation?
Yes, Guillaume de Moulin is the winemaker, fourth generation, and it's about 32 hectares of fruit. It's all hillside. You know, you see the color of Tavel rosés. They're typically darker and more red, and to a lot of American drinkers, they think that means sweet, that the wine is going to be sugary, and we don't like that. But in fact, it's dry, bone dry. Almost all the rosé that comes out of Tavel is bone dry.
Yeah, it's kind of like an in-betweener too, because these rosés are kind of built to age and take on some personality. And so you don't have to be in a rush to drink a Tavel. I wouldn't say you don't want to put them away for 20 years, but they are very capable of improving over 2 to 5.
Yeah, and you know this place historically, the wines are famous for aging because it's a very Mediterranean climate, which allows wines to get the structure in the body and the ripeness that requires long-term aging. You know, they're getting a lot of sunshine and a lot of warmth without being super hot, and then the nights are pretty cool down there, and that just allows for a longer hang time.
So you've got vine age, you've got sustainable practices, you've got these, you know, almost see the vine spacing here. It's untrained, untrellised. These are thriving vines that are allowed to craft their berries, and they do so in this kind of old vine notion. And you can see even here where the new vines are coming in and they're starting to put in a little bit more modern vineyard practices. But small operation, family operation.
Yep. Small operation. I'm trying to remember the case amount, but it's not an overly large amount that's made.
Yeah, I don't see this wine in a ton of places, but you probably will find it in great French bistros, French focused wine stores. There are many Tavel producers. This is listed in the upper echelon, and 93 points is no slouchy score. The great varieties here, we're looking at Grenache, and we're going to talk a lot today about Grenache based wines. And another kind of amazing feature for this wine, I loved it. There's a really great price on the product, and we've taken a good position on it. I don't think for less than $20 you can get a better rosé. I don't think you can get a more classic.
We're going to stop it right there because this was made about a year ago, and that price continued to slide down just a little bit more. So we'll take a look at the current price and see where we're at now. But some of the slides we took a look at already in the slideshow, and kind of an off outside the vintage, you know, vines go dormant in the cooler part of the year. That's what it looks like. Didn't finish the thought earlier before I was edited out. This is 60 Grenache, 18 Cinsault, 12 Clairier, which we'll hear about a little bit more today as well. Some Syrah and Mourvèdre. We're down to $15. In fact, I think that price even just came down a little bit further. Yeah, we're $14.95 and falling. So that is kind of the world of rosé that we're living in at this moment. So, you know, there's a good amount of supply. I believe on my next order, I'll be getting the 22. So the 21s have moved through, and we still have a good couple cases of this, so it won't happen immediately. But I'm sure the price of the 22 is back up closer to 20 bucks. So if you want to lay down a couple bottles of 21 Rosé, good idea, good deal, and we have it for you. I always like to get the first couple of wines in, and then we'll check in on you guys and see how you're doing. Hopefully everybody's good. We're going to go to a wine that we've never featured on a Zoom into Wine product that I know of. So we'll do it right here, right now. This is Domaine Gassier. This is the Notre Pas White. And this is from Costières de Nîmes. This is a 2019 white wine. This is a brand that I've become very fond of over the past couple of years. Really seen some consistent, beautiful wines. Even a little bit further south than Tavel, we're down here in the very southern tip of the Rhone Valley, and really kind of an area that's overachieving all the time. And so it's a really fun wine to introduce people to. And these guys have a very high ethos, and I think they're one of the better producers that is coming in from this part of the world, not only from their ethos side, but also just the quality, the balance, the beauty, the perfume. I really like these wines. So get us in the mood. Nice little photo and looking out over the Rhone. Line number 2. Here we go. So Domaine Gassier. That's a picture there of Tina and Michael. And their daughter is the 5th generation, is now in place and starting to take impact on the future of the brand. But they've always been really about doing what's right for the land and the people that work in it. And this is a beautiful property. Great setting, amazing sun-drenched. You can see that pebbly round rock soils, riverbeds, basically. '53 Grenache Blanc, 22 Clairier, 11 Viognier, 92 points. Jeb Dunnick, notably richer and deeper. The 2019, he was probably comparing 19 to a different vintage. Reveals a vivid gold color as well as a honeyed nose of tangerine, apricot, peach, and white flowers with medium to full-bodied richness, beautifully balanced, elegant texture, and a solid spine of acidity. This is another terrific white from this team that has loads to love. Rhone Valley, southern part of France, good amount of sunshine. Rhone fruit tends to have a lot of character. It swings from some really interesting spicy and vegetative, leafy kind of characteristics. A lot of tomato plant influences in the nose of these wines today. It swings all the way to a pretty fruit-filled, floral, and loud type of wine. Love some comments if you got one. What are you thinking? How's that making you feel?
Ian, we're loving it here. The nose is amazing. That's a Viognier coming through, I think, right?
Yeah, a lot of these Rhone varieties have kind of those similar white flowers, honeysuckle, Viognier, kind of characteristics, but all of them kind of embrace that. They're a little bit rounder, softer, creamier. And that nose is just very Rhone Valley. Yeah, loud, because the wines definitely have a boldness, a profile, a richness that makes them unique and special. So with that, I hope you guys enjoy the Gassier. I'm going to get us into the next wine, and here we go. Oh, before we do that, a little commercial break. Coming up soon, Cab Franc. We've got a Cab Franc Zoom. Let's see if it takes me to it. That's next week on, well, it's 2 weeks from now, actually. Next week is a holiday week. Getting shipments out pretty impossible on Monday, so won't work for a Zoom. But we'll do 2 weeks from now.
They've just gone through the first two wines. He's talking about the Cab Franc, and they're getting ready to do the third. I'll trade it with you so I can take
That's a
one.
great recap. Great recap. There we go. Here we go. So yeah, Cab Franc next 2 weeks from now. Really fun lineup going from Argentina, Italy, France, Bordeaux in France, back up to these are both Loirs, and then finishing in Napa. So really a fun lineup of Cab Franc. If you'll give me 1 minute, I'll be right with you, sir. Thank you. Week after that, Southern Stars allows us to explore great wines from the southern parts of the hemisphere, going from South Africa to New Zealand to Australia to Patagonia, back to South Africa for a great dessert wine, and back to Argentina for a new release from Catena Zapata with some great Malbec. So covering a lot of different southern hemisphere regions, just allowing us to taste a bunch of different grapes, different categories, and catching up with some old friends. That's our Southern Stars of Wine. Now let's get into wine number 3. Get number 3 in the glass. And get you started here. This is from, again, from the same zone as we just tasted, our white from Gassier. Now we are going to taste the Plagniol. This is the 2021, and the importer is a friend of ours, Hiram Simon. I'm gonna play a little video from Hiram.
Next up in our exploration of the Rhone Valley, we're now going to spend a moment with Hiram Simon, who is the owner and founder of WineWise, an importer of our next wine, a favorite around here, Hiram, the Plagniol. It has been a champion in the store. Every year I'm excited to get the new release and to compare it to the last. I think the wines are super exciting, and it's really fun to see what's happening with this particular brand. How are you today?
I'm very well and very happy to be here to talk about what is really one of my absolute favorite producers in our portfolio, Plagniol. I started WineWise in 1989, and this estate is one of 3 that remain in our portfolio from those first days. So it's a very profound and long-lasting connection that we have. It's a fairly reliable a gauge of an estate's quality, I think, is if they have their origins in North Africa. The Marais family actually originally came from the Languedoc back in the 18th century, where they were also involved in wine, and they before they set up shop in the Costières de Nîmes, they also had and have a property in the Médoc called Château Castera. So they're very, very well, deeply entrenched in French wine history. Rosé ran the estate. His wife was a professor of ancient Greek at the University of Montpellier. They were very, very urbane, dignified, old-fashioned. Oh, I should mention one important thing, which is it's much better known by another name, which is Madé Bressade. If you to look for them at the internet, that's where you would find them. We have the Maghrand Plagniol label because the Bressade label was taken by another importer. But the Maghrand Plagniol is actually the name of the family house on the estate. But the estate is a large estate, all in one piece, basically, in this area in the Gare.
We have a couple of pictures actually from the Ma de Bressade website, in particular the soils of this area of the Rhone, which has this massive, forceful, wide river that just carries an immense amount of water through southern France and has literally removed so much topsoil that you've got these massive round stones everywhere that have probably traveled hundreds of miles, and they've got these corners, they call them galets, and it's really a fascinating part of the entire Rhone Valley. And it's really great. With one of the great wineries there calls their wine the blood of the stones, and I think that's just a great way to think of it. And here's a look at their chai, very traditional, concrete, stainless steel. It's this is like every great small producer looks just like this.
Yeah, they do have a barrel cellar too, because they age a lot of their wines in barrique. But that was indeed the main fermentation and settling area that you just saw in the cellars. And these are some of Cyril's many children that you can see he puts to good use at harvest time, and they seem to be having a very good time, I must say. I'm sure contribute hugely to the wine's quality. Now, this is a fantastic picture because it really does convey to you the singular quality of these vineyards. You can travel, the Costières de Nîmes is a huge area, and it actually is not at all uniform in the quality of the wine, the style of the wines it makes. But you could see many vineyards that have not nary a pebble in them. But when you go to their estate, it's just covered with these galets, and it really is a hallmark of quality.
Yeah, we'll get to our wine now. The 2000 and where are we? 19? Is that what we're tasting today?
Yes.
2019. Wow.
That's where I'll stop again, because
Next up in our explore.
Interviewing him when we had 19, but now we're on the 21 vintage, which we were just talking about with the Rosé. So the 2019 Mascron Plagniol was one of the best-selling wines in our store, and I took a lot of that wine. I sold, I don't know, 50 cases, which is, for a little store, that's a lot. And people were buying it a case at a time. The 21 vintage, a little different vintage, a little colder, more rain, a little more selection needed, and the wine turned out a little differently just because of the conditions. I certainly didn't give it as high of praise, but the quality here is very good. This is still an incredible value. And so I wanted to support this effort. The 21 at its price point, still one of the best wines in the store, for the dollar. And so I this is like a Côte de Rhône on steroids, a little bit more quality than a Côte de Rhône, but at almost the same exact price, if not better than a lot of Côte de Rhônes in price. So keep that in mind. A lot of history here. Obviously some very old soils, old hillsides, a lot of Roman history. Châteauneuf to Pape to the north really kind of set the stage for the Rhone Valley. Hermitage was probably the most celebrated wine region in all of France during the 1700s, 1600s, maybe even just before that, and really had a huge amount of influence on the wine world. That river looks tame, but I'm telling you, it really is moving at a pretty good click and pretty deep and pretty powerful, and a lot of things transport on that river. And you can see the hillsides and the cities below. High ethos, Grenache, Syrah, Cinsault. $15.95. Doesn't have quite the sweet, saturated, plush nose that we saw in the 19 vintage. I do think this smells a little bit more Grenache than Syrah, maybe. That's also because I'm sure that things got pretty ripe in 19, a warmer vintage, 21, a colder vintage. But I just think that this wine just changed its personality based on the vintage, and that's not such a bad thing. If we just bought wines every year because they tasted exactly the same, that would probably be the end of the wine industry. So we love to see vintage variation, how it kind of translates itself into the wine, and and the struggles that these winemakers and wineries have at delivering a wine that they want to put their name on, they want to be proud of it, and you could see that there was a good amount of work here to make a pretty wine in a pretty tough vintage. $15.95. Again, I think it's one of the best values on the Merchant of Wine website for the dollar with everything that you're getting, and some of the things we compare this wine to. We are going to continue now in an upward direction, going from some value into a little bit more of what the Rhone Valley would like to be known for. Some very top efforts. A staggered step. This is not the Chave's greatest wine, but probably John Louis Chave is one of the greatest names. And so this is a selection from Jean Louis Chave. It's from the area known as Saint Joseph. Offerus is the wine. 2020 is the vintage. We've moved away from the south. We're in the north. We're in Syrah country, and Saint Joseph. You can see that yellow strip right there, pretty large and sprawling on the western side of the river. Hillsides, look at it. It's so classic. The way they're almost trellised on that hill. Steep hills. Old vines. These are single. They do this type of grape growing in the Mosel in Germany. You can see the way the vine is like trained around one cane. Each vine has its own cane straight up into the air, so the branches don't spread out and create shadows. Chave goes back to 1481. We carry a lot of different Chave wines, primarily because they are the benchmark producer. Their Hermitage wines, always one of the most collected wines of the world. Right now, they're between $400 and $500 on release, And so everything that we taste today, it's kind of, or in this glass, is made by the same team, not from the Hermitage Vineyard, not from anything close, except that it is a very respected northern Rhone producer and a respected appellation. Here we are in the Shay, pulling it out by the thief. This wine received 93 points in the Wine Spectator. Because of the appellation they're in, it requires that the wine be 100% Syrah. Spectator says, well meshed and alluring. This red offers generous core of cherry, plum, and fruitcake spice with pretty lilac highlights. Creamy on the full palate with smoked meats notes and a sturdy spine of graphite. Shows impressive length and poise. Drink through 2030. No reason to wait to drink, but I think 2030 is, obviously 5 years away, and I believe this wine will journey much further than that. But they do make this wine to be drank relatively near term. We're looking at a 5-year-old wine almost now, 4 years anyway. Beautiful detail, the color, the concentration, the focus. This is Syrah now, so you can really turn up the volume knobs a little bit. You can get lost in that nose. It's got those thicker red fruit skins. Syrah can kind of play with notions of cracked pepper. Kind of leans in a little bit on that smoky meat. I get like dark cacao, dark chocolate cacao, maybe like a really good espresso from a coffee bar that maybe doesn't have to use the super heavy roast, showing some of those blue tone fruits in coffee. Everything you're sensing here, it's very similar hand to what you get in Hermitage. Just feel the length in that. It's like so pretty, yet so poised and so, it's in music, there's this notion of resonance, and it just kind of continues across the palate, just this beautiful length, and the resonance of this wine just really is gorgeous. When I taste the $400 to $500 Hermitage, I get I get excited, but that is such a massive wine that you literally have to lay it down for like, I mean, some people say it's a 20-year wait to drink your Hermitage, but I taste this and I get a lot of happiness for a fraction of the price, but really get to taste that quality in the same hands, same team, same everything. Not the same soil. We are in Saint Joseph, but a very good producer making this wine, and I think the story is wonderful. Less than $40. Compare it, contrast it with some of the Syrahs that we make here in California. I think this is juicy enough to make a California Syrah fan say, I like it, and it's also got enough stoniness that, a European wine lover will not think it's too jammy and too ripe. There's definitely some alcohol here. Looking at the bottle, let's see if I can see it. Imports, it's really hard because sometimes they just do it out of legal requirement. They put the alcohol on there. I think it says 14. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. Thanks, Tom. Hi, Amy. Good to see you. Take off my I got the view where I can only see your teeny heads. Let me see if I can change that. Here we go. Gary, good to see you, sir. Hope things are well. Thanks for being here. Jennifer, Lisa Test, how are you?
I am lovely, thank you. Thank
Excellent.
you.
Excellent. Rachel Foster, thank you for joining us. Setsuko, always wonderful to have you on the Zoom. I'm hoping to get back to Japan next year, and I may have to skip next year and come the year after. But we will keep in mind that how much fun we had in Japan. All right, we continue. We go from Chave. Now we're going to, let's see, get my PowerPoint back open. We're going to spend some more time with Banneret. Châteauneuf de Pape. Love this producer, love everything about it. 2020, really drinking good. Let's check out the video I made a little while back.
Heroes of France has taken us from, we have a very special guest. Audrey Vidal is joining us today, and her brand Banneret is one of my favorites. I've always really appreciated your wine, Audrey, so I'm very happy to meet you today.
Thank you, Ian, for inviting me. I'm very excited to be part of this video, and very happy to meet you.
Everybody, this is a picture of your father, Jean-Claude.
My father, Jean-Claude, yes.
Great. Today we're tasting the 2020 Domaine Banneret Châteauneuf de Pape. And Châteauneuf de Pape is right in the heart of the south part of the Rhone Valley near Avignon, and a very historical spot. The Pope blessed this land. I'm not sure of the year. Was it like in the 1400s? Audrey?
Yes.
So tell us about the history of the estate, Audrey.
So both my parents are originally from south of France, and they moved to Toulouse when they were young because of their professions. But my father always had a dream, as he grew up in the village of Châteauneuf du Pape, and he spent his young years surrounded by the vines. And as many children of this generation, he had the chance to had some experiences of harvesting and working in the sevens. And so he was very close to this product of wine, and he also was very fascinated by everything which will enrich his senses and the taste. And by the end of the 80s, his dream came true, because a little plots of vine were in my grandmother's family for generation. And naturally, my father wanted to take this vineyard and do something with it. But we had to do this with all the family and transport, as we had nothing we had just the vines, but we didn't have the cellar or anything. So it was very much a story of family and friends and going through this dream together.
Beautiful. And difficult because usually it takes a fortune to begin a project like this. So you all came together and support and had the dream.
Yes, he was 50 when he realized his dream. So it is something that he keeps on saying to me. He said, dreams, you will never get too old to have dreams.
Beautiful. There's your father, your mother, your husband, your son. Your son is the next generation?
Yes, we hope so. I mean, as we are trying to give him the taste of working together and give him the value of doing things in family, I hope that he will follow us.
Now, how many total acres or hectares are you farming?
So now the estate farms about 5 hectares, more or less. 4.5 hectares are dedicated to the red Châteauneuf du Pape, where all 13 different grape varieties are planted. And the half hectare is planted only with the white grapes, and it is dedicated to the white Châteauneuf du Pape, the small cuvée called Le Secret.
Very nice, very nice. And with your vineyard and your vines, these look like untrained, untrellised, kind of single cane bush vine type of approach, no water. Is there any farming practices that you are using?
So as I said before, we feel very close to the environment, so we try to respect it at the best, as we do in our current life, in our normal life. And so we for example, we respect precise mapping for mixing all the grape varieties, because we know that they will defend themselves better and they will je sais pas le dire. The complementation also helps for the maturity to get to be reached. And we don't use any pesticide for the grass. We just till the soil very often. As you can see in this picture, it is mainly composed by sand. So we have different kind of soil like sand, clay, limestone, and pebbles.
The wine we're tasting today is truly special because it is a Châteauneuf de Pape, and it has the opportunity to have 13 different grape varieties, and yours has all 13, right, Audrey?
Yes, this was part of the dream also. We wanted to keep the old tradition and to keep this complementation of and mixed grape varieties into our vineyard. And so we think that this variety helps the wine to find a natural complexity. And it's very interesting in the year when it is very hot or very, very dry, because as we have different kind of flavors, the wine will find its natural balance. For example, the white grapes will give some acidity, natural acidity, and we never go through, we never harvest overripe grapes.
And is everything fermented together, co-fermented?
Yes, this is also very important because we use the natural yeast that are present on the skin of the grape, and mixing all these varieties bring different yeast. So it's really interesting in this fermentation phase. It's really interesting.
Very good. And total time in wood is about 1.5 years, maybe 18 months?
Yes, exactly. So it stays for 18 months. And then it is bottled, and we try to keep it for 6 months in bottle before releasing it, because we believe the wine needs to rest a little before open the bottle. opening the bottle.
Our 2020 example tonight is another beautiful rendition, and it is very capable of a very nice long life. Well, Audrey was a little hesitant in joining us tonight, thinking that her English isn't very good. But Audrey, I'll tell you, it's just so wonderful to hear it from you and to see you and to meet you and to learn about your property from you. So I want to thank you very much. You did a great job. Heroes of France.
All right. So Châteauneuf de Pape is the famous spot. Basically the Pope moved there in the 1400s, new Chateau of the Pope, blessed the land. Things didn't go very well a few popes later. They burned him out of there. Banneret is a pop producer. They have a small family-owned operation, as we just covered, but they do a really nice job. And the dream is very much alive, and the family is keeping it alive. About $57. You get a discount off of that. That is discountable with your code tonight. So get that really close to 50 bucks. That is a beautiful wine to take out anytime with any friend, anywhere, any type of food. Very fun to have Châteauneuf de Pape with just about everything. Can't believe it's our 6th wine already, but we're gonna go again to a northern Rhone producer. We've featured a different wine from this producer in the past. Let's try something new. I say new, it's new to us. But this is Courbis. It's a Cornas. And this is a vineyard designate called Champelrose. Cornas, right up next to Saint Joseph, same side of the river, but really, I mean, you've seen some rocky spots, but Cornas is very rocky and very steep, and a bit more of a task to have things grow and to farm. So Cornas is a little wilder, a little bit more difficult in some ways, and more dramatic. Family date back to the 16th century. They have a style. Courbis is definitely in it to win it. They make wines that make the reviewers kind of purr a little bit. So let's see what you think of this amazing effort. What a great picture too, to show you, don't even bother planting grapes on the flat land, just plant it on the very steep hill. And that's why the characters are so exaggerated. This wine got 95 points by Venus. Opaque ruby. Oh, really? This wine, if you poured it out and you got it on the table, you would probably stain the table. Mineral accented blackberry, cherry, smoked meat, and olive aromas show fine detail, and a spicy black pepper kind of pops out of there. That's a Syrah note. Spicy black pepper, energetic cherry and red and dark berry flavors are complemented by candied violet accent, exotic pit fruit nuance. Exotic pit fruit. I have to, I guess maybe instead of a plum, it's a plumat. I don't know what exotic pit fruit nuance might be, but delivers a suave blend of depth as well as energy, and finishes with smoky mineral cut, discrete tannins, and superb floral driven persistence. A lot of big words there after 5 tastes of wine. Cornas. That's all you kind of had to say to get us to this point. Cornas is going to be a thumper. It's going to be something bold and expressive. Swirl this baby around. You can see that purple kind of humming in the glass. The producer really knows how to extract that. The nose is so saturated with those red fruits but that rocky minerality is right behind him, just going, let me out. I mean, how do you not like the nose of this wine? You may not like it as much as the others. It's just, but this is like really reaching out and connecting. Um, uh, just I love Rhone wines, and I just don't think we think about them enough and include them enough. You go out to dinner and you're going out to a steakhouse. Why would you not want to drink one of these with a steak? But I go to steakhouses and it's cab, cab, cab. I'm a Zinfandel producer. I'm happy when I see a Zinfandel on the list, but there should be more wines like this. It's juicy, it's ripe, it's layered, it's mouth coating, teeth staining, but it's not bitter, not too bitter. There's some bitters there, but it's not so bitter, and it's got wonderful texture, concentration, really, really juicy. Love it. $52, very limited. I think we've only got 6 bottles left, and that we started with a case. So and I kind of did that with all of their wines. I brought in 3 of them, maybe 4, and they get a little pick through. So it was kind of rolling the dice a little bit. Which Rhone from them we're going to try? Let's try the Cornas. But if you like this producer, and you just go to the top of the website, grab their name, type it in there, search, you'll see what we've got from them. Yeah, we got 5 of them now. A white, a Saint Joseph, a Cornas, 2 Cornas. One is the one that we're tasting tonight, and the other is the big brother. The big brother that didn't get the score that this one got because it's from 2021. Okay, I love this 2021, but it's a colder vintage. Got penalized a little bit. Doesn't have that oomph that the ripeness gives you. But as Andrew commented, 2021 brought some really nice spine of acidity that makes these wines even more exciting to someone who's maybe not as enamored with New World. Because I think this 2020 that we're tasting almost has like New World connotations to it in the color, the saturation, the ripeness. And so 2 Saint Josephs, 2 Cornas, and 1 Champelrose white. That's what we've got from this producer. I would try as many of these as you can. Producer's excellent, and I love turning people on to this brand. With that ends our session tonight. We're on time for once. I've been so long-winded for the past month and a half. But I thank you for being with me here tonight. I've got a really good calendar of stuff planned for you guys with Zoom into Wine. So check out the calendar and see everything that we've got on there. That being said, I have been beside myself busy, and we've got everything through the end of the year up on the calendar. I'm going to show you. That's the good news. We got all the events kind of staked in the ground that we could teach. But we are traveling a lot, so these private events are probably us out on tour doing what we do on different trips and stuff. So you really kind of have about a dozen more Zooms between now and the end of the year. Cab Franc in 2 weeks, Southern Stars, then we take a week off. Big on Burgundy. I'm going to open up some really nice stuff. You can click in and see what we're tasting. A little different selection than what we did last time. And some really good stuff. I just love Burgundy, and I've got to stay in touch with it every quarter or so, just kind of taste through some different things. I have been buying a lot of wine. I've been buying a lot of wine. I've been buying more high-end wines. I've been able to get some things that I haven't been able to buy in the past. I think the future of the store is in better shape when we have some real treasures. So that's what I've been focusing on. This down market for restaurants is good for me to be able to get some stuff that I wouldn't normally get, and maybe I'll be lucky and they'll keep offering it to me in the future. But great golden nuggets of Spain, just kind of a fun way of bringing you aware that there's going to be some really delicious Spanish wines. But this is an event I haven't loaded yet. October hasn't been touched yet. We've got the wines, but I just haven't had time to price it out and get the details up here. So it's coming. 96, 97, 98, 99 point wines. We're going to taste them, see if you can figure out which one's got the best score. And that's going to be fun, kind of go through a series of that type of experience. We'll go into Alsace for a comprehensive deep dive. My goal is that we'll show 6 wines, 6 different grapes from Alsace. And there's just something so Alsatian about them, and I wanted to really embrace that in the session. We'll taste wines of all different price points too, and different styles. Couple weeks off, then red wines for fall, just kind of a nice generic event, letting us show you some very different stuff that maybe a whole night of wines from Austria and Blaufränkisch might not be something we want to do a whole night of Blaufränkisch, but we could do one and have some fun. We go on a tour of the world with Pinot Noir the week after, tasting some great wines I've got lined up there. Then one of my classic events, Heroes of Cabernet. We're arranging for the appointments now to speak with the producers. Some of them may be live, some of them may be recording with me. And we finish out the year with Barolo versus Brunello. On the 18th of December, because the next week will be Christmas, and the week after that just kind of falls right on New Year's Eve. So that's how we're going to go out with a bang with Barolo versus Brunello this year. We've often tried to do the truffle thing, and it's such a headache logistically that just can't. I know that with all my travel and stuff, it's going to be really hard for me to do that this year. Maybe I can do truffle at another time of the year. Focus on black truffle or something, but this year I'll be focused on truffles a lot in our trip to Barolo, which we're taking a group to in the first week of December. So I'll be coming back kind of pumped up with latest and greatest Barolo facts, and man, we're gonna taste some I have so much Brunello and Barolo to blow your mind. There's so many great wines available. These wines have gotten expensive, but we've got a really good lineup, and we'll have that up probably by next week. My goal is by next Wednesday to have all of these with wines and prices for the rest of the year. And I hope that they'll all be big, beautiful crowd gatherings. And we will be publishing January soon too, because we're going to keep going with Zoom into Wine into the future. We love it. We hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you for everything, everybody.
Thanks, Ian.
Oh, And for you, Tom, I got a new Dodger hat.
Oh, I was really hoping we could make it
No.
without the Dodger hat.
Don't go ruining it.
City Connect hat is here. This is the alternative uniform that we wear.
All right, very good.
All right.
Not very good, but
Well,
thank you.
see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Be well.